Hey y'all. Hey y'all. When Forrest Gump said, "I'm not a smart man," he meant me. So I just sat here for 25 minutes making a live video, but had it set to private. Uh, uh, oh well. Wondered why nobody joined. It's really unusual that like none of you hop on. But oh, that's something. I tell you what. Lately, I have, when it comes to making plans and paying attention to detail, has been fail after fail, let me tell you. So I will give this just a minute for some folks to hop on. I think I've done it right this time. We'll see. Maybe y'all just ignoring me and have given up. I don't know. No, it works. I see people popping in now. Oh, man. Uh, I don't know. I was actually feeling kind of bad that nobody joined. One little button makes a big difference. You know, there's a big difference between public and private when it comes to live streams and videos. Turns out they don't tell y'all I'm live if I've got it set to private. So I'm going to say the whole thing over again. Thanks everybody for joining. Oh man, going to be one of those mornings. Hey, I promise, if you watched my last live, I know you didn't watch all of it because it was like 2 hours long. This one is not going to go 2 hours long, I promise. And I'll explain why here in a minute. Excuse me one second. So, second cup of coffee is much needed. If you missed why I have cracked myself up, I forgot to hit the public button. I went live and talked to myself for 20 some minutes there a little bit ago. People are commenting. I don't have my glasses on. Rick, have you seen my bank account? We're going to talk about that in a minute, Rick. Don't jump the gun on me, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, let's get into it. So if you saw the thumbnail about it's time to retire, that was actually the notification that came up on my phone last night. So I was sitting here watching Netflix, watching a really good series out of Thailand about express delivery. It's Mad Unicorn. So I absolutely recommend it. It's only 7 episodes. Good watching. It's funny, it's dramatic, and it's based on a true story. So there you go if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix later. So anyhow, sitting here, and I've got my Amazon device. I won't say her name because she'll light up and ask me what I'm talking about, but you know who I'm talking about. It's right there on the shelf. It went off last night in the middle of the show, and it still thinks it's in Virginia. So I get like, hey, severe thunderstorm warning for Brandermill or for Richmond. And most of the time I just ignore it because I know it's not for me, but it's a good way to keep up on things that are going on at home. But then my phone went off because I've got the same app on my phone. And I looked down and it was that notification that said retire June 1st, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. or whatever it was. Anyway, 2 years ago, when I created my plan, my timeline, I set a reminder just in case I got busy with work and life and everything else. So it went off last night and said, hey, it's time to retire. Turns out it's 17 months late. I actually retired and left the U.S. in December 2023. And I had forgotten all about that reminder, which is awesome because, I mean, think about it. It's how lucky am I to have been able to retire almost 2 years early, a year and a half before I expected. So that prompted me, hey, Scott, thanks for joining. Scott is the reason that this is not going to go 2 hours. And it's a great reminder. Thanks. I made a post a while back asking if any of you would be interested in talking one-on-one about how to get here, how to do that, right? If you wanted to have a conversation instead of exchange, messages in a live chat, would you be interested in a phone call? And there was a really good response saying a lot of folks would be interested in like a 30 to 60 minute call. Just to talk about how to do it, what it's like, whatever it is you wanted to talk about. So with that feedback, I've started doing it. And Scott was actually the first person to take me up on that. Turns out he's up the road in Pattaya today, so or Jomtien. So I'm going to head up there, and he and I are going to grab a coffee or lunch or just chit chat a little bit. And he's going to rent a motorbike, and we're going to make some videos just talking about maybe his experience so far and his initial trip to Thailand, and how to rent a motorbike, and maybe some other thoughts he's having since he's been here. He's been here a little bit. So that's why it's not going to go 2 hours unless I keep rambling like this. It's because he's waiting on me, and he's tired of not being able to get around town. So back to the topic. My initial trip is OMG. This is awesome. Yeah, don't spoil it. Make them watch the video later. Okay, Rick, you're done, brother. Pattaya is primarily for sex tourists. Just be honest, bro. It's the public's perception. Anyway, hey, you need to find something better to do with your time than jump on here and spread your negativity, because that's why you're such a bitter person. You live in that, you dwell in that, and you're now blocked. So you can go. We don't need that around here. Nobody wants to hear your poison, okay? Go find somebody else to watch. And that's the rules, folks. If that's your life, if that's your perception, I feel sorry for you, but don't bring it here, because I don't put up with it. That's the life I left behind. And if you're that narrow-minded, hit the road. Okay, back to it. You got to have a plan, right? There's an old saying, how do you retire early? How do you plan for your retirement? How do you get ready? How do you actually do it? And that's kind of what I just want to touch on a little bit today, because we can't do an entire retirement plan in a very quick video. So make a plan and work your plan, right? That's how the old saying goes. Make a plan, work your plan. You got to have some kind of foundation, right? If you're living and dreaming and thinking, hey, one day I'm gonna retire, and that's all you think about it. You don't think about how you're gonna get there, where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, and those are all things that you'll need to build into your plan. But that said, I think it was Mike Tyson who said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Well, plans change, right? So you need to anticipate that, or you need to at least be ready for it. So just be flexible with your plan, and don't worry about all of the nitty-gritty details, because chances are they're not going to work out, right? Something's going to go wrong, something's going to be off, and you can't let that eat you up. I know I used to be in a very stressful job, and I was stressed out all the time. And it was all about planning. It was all about organizing. It was, this has to happen by this date and exactly this way, or there are serious consequences. And it never worked well. I don't say never, but, often enough, stuff happens, right? You get punched in the face. Plans fall apart. Plans change. Like my 2-year plan. Like I got my reminder from Alexa. Things change. No, not you. See? She lights up. Things change, and you just have to be ready to kind of just roll with it. And that's one of the great things about Thai culture is it's all, sabai sabai, jai yen yen. It's just, just relax, be cool. It's okay. It'll all work out in the end, right? Like my mom used to say, it'll feel better when it stops hurting. So make your plan, but don't get so wrapped up in the details that it gives you tunnel vision, right? And be ready for that plan to change. Now that leads me to the next little point I wanted to talk about. And coincidentally, I saw a study recently. Don't have it in front of me, but if I find the link to it, I'll put it in the description for when the video is posted after we go live. But it was just a poll, a study of people who were planning to retire and people who had retired, talking about things like their timelines. And hey, Texas, how are you? And basically what it said was a lot of people planning for retirement will plan right now are saying they will be at least 60, and I'm talking about Americans, will be at least 65 years old before they retire, with many planning to retire at 72. 72. Fewer saying they were going to retire at 62. Now, a very high percentage, if I remember right, it was almost 40%, of the people who said they planned to retire at least 65 or older, if they were actually retired when they responded to the survey, retired earlier than they planned. So very much like me, planning to retire now, June of 2025, but having retired December of 2023, and it's crazy because it doesn't seem like it's 2025 and that was 2023 already. But most people, or many people, not most, many people that responded to that survey said that they ended up retiring earlier than they expected. Plan for change, right? That's the great way for it to happen. It's sad but true. Sometimes you say, well, I'm gonna retire at 62 and it doesn't happen until 65, or I'm gonna retire at 40 and it doesn't happen until 62. Hopefully it works out for all of us the same way, and you retire earlier than you're planning on. And that gets me to the financial plan, right? If that's gonna happen, and for me, it was because my job was gonna change or be eliminated, you need to have your plan and your financial plan ready so that if something happens, it's not a total oh crap moment, right? And you can drive on from that. But plan for things to happen faster, and that's part of the financial planning, right? So when I say make a plan and work your plan, my 2-year plan included was pretty wide open, right? You can look at other videos that I've done, maybe up here, and back in the day, 2023, when I started the channel, 2-year plan down to 10 locations I was going to move to. So start your plan. When do you want to retire? Where do you want to retire? And then why? Right? Or maybe go the other way. Why do I want to retire? Why do I want to run to these places or retire to these places? My number one requirement was I don't ever want to be cold again. Did it. I'm in Thailand. Doesn't get cold here, that's for sure. So the initial parts of your plan needs to be, what's going to make you happy? What do you have to have in your retirement? Plan for those things to change too, right? If you go back to when I started, when I moved here, I had to be warm all the time, right? I wanted to be able to see the beach. The beach was a big factor for me in my retirement, especially in choosing my first destination once I decided on Thailand. And many of the places, I think all of the places that were on my list were coastal. I love the beach. I love the view. I like taking pictures of it. I just like being at the beach, right? It's very relaxing. Well, I don't live on the beach anymore. When I first moved here, I did. My house now is about half a mile, 1 kilometer from the beach. I went down the other day because in my last video, I was saying I hadn't been there since January when my son was here. It's been 5 months since I've been to the beach and it's half a mile away. So your priorities are going to change, but you just kind of roll with it. I'll get back to your questions in just a couple minutes. Keep them coming, and I'll scroll through them. If you load them up, I'll scroll back to them. We'll get to it. So financial plan, beyond what makes you happy, where would you want to go? And just to wrap that one up, I would say don't pick just one place. Have a couple of options, right? I had 10. I narrowed it down to 5. When I came to Thailand, I fell in love with the place immediately. And then coincidentally, after I went home after the first trip, things changed, right? Timing changed, and here I am. And I didn't choose Thailand, luckily, because it was like, I got to go somewhere. It was because I came here and I fell in love with the place. And when everything changed, I know where I'm going, right? And that took me into my financial plan, because when I came back and things were changing, I was able to look at the cost of living here and how much I had saved, right? Because you think about it, I was 56 and something, 57, whatever I was in December 2023. I can't withdraw from my 401 without a penalty. I'm not eligible for Social Security. Savings and passive income, right? That's what I was going to have to live on. But once I did the math and figured out what a comfortable living for me would be, and what it would cost, I knew I could do it. until, and survive off of savings and passive income until I could get into my 401 a few years from now when I can get into my Social Security. So I had like that financial peace of mind. And I think you'd be surprised, many locations are so affordable. Now, everybody has heard, Thailand's cheaper, but I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, most places are cheaper than the US. And I know there's different costs of living throughout the US based on where you live and all that other kind of stuff. But as a general statement, lots of other places are a whole lot cheaper, right? Most places in Europe are going to be cheaper than the US. There are many European expats here in Thailand and throughout Southeast Asia and lots of other places in the world, right, that are cheaper, even more so than Europe. So you've got tons of options. And some of my, I looked at Central America, I looked at Europe, and here I am. And it wasn't just a financial decision, but part of getting ready is understanding more so than planning. Like, I need to have, pick a number, $1 million to be able to retire. Look beyond that and ask why again. If you're going to be able to live on $1,000 or $2,000 a month or whatever budget makes you happy where you're going, then calculate how much you need to be able to retire and calculate how you supplement that income, or how do you get to that, right? If it turns out you can't wait to retire until you're eligible for Social Security, what are you going to do? Savings and passive income. So part of your retirement planning on the financial side needs to be not just budgeting, but what can I do for extra income? So maybe I'm not hitting my savings as hard. Can I do investments that are dividend based? Can I make t-shirts and sell them on Amazon? Can I make a YouTube channel and make money off of that? All things that I do, and all things I highly recommend that if you're thinking about retirement, and everybody should be thinking about retirement, do those now. Start doing things to create passive income streams for yourself. It's also going to give you something to do in your retirement. So that's that study that said, a lot of people are planning to retire and then they end up retiring earlier. Now, there was also another study out there, and I just touched on spending and budgets. Another study, and lots of studies coming out from financial advisors lately. If you do any kind of reading, financial news or like Market Watch or anything like that, most people don't spend enough money in retirement. You actually spend less than what you had planned on. Now, I planned for $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Most months, I don't even spend $1,000. I live comfortably. My rent is $12,150 baht for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, half a mile from the beach. And that includes my water bill. My electric bill came in yesterday. It was less than 800 baht. So just over $20 US for a month of electricity here. Now, I usually only run the AC at night when I'm sleeping, but back in April when it's blazing hot and, 100% humidity. Yeah, there were days when I ran it 24/7. And when my son was here in January, keeping him cool, he's not used to the weather, we ran it 24/7, and we ran, 1 air conditioner in the main area, 2 air conditioners at night. And, I think my highest bill when he was here was 1,100 baht or something. So what's that? $25. So I don't, whatever. Current rate's like 32, less than 33 baht per dollar. So I need more coffee. I can't do the calculation in my head. So on your financial budget, don't be afraid to spend. Don't be afraid to live life, right? Build that into your vacations, into your scouting trips. I've said this before, go figure out what things cost. Don't come just in vacation mode, right? Find out the things that you love to do. What do they cost to do them? Scott, I'm going to pick on you again. Scott likes pickleball. He found places to play pickleball up in Pratumnak here in Pattaya. How much does it cost to play pickleball? If you break your racket, what's it cost to replace the racket? Lots of people come here because they love to golf. I don't golf. They tell me it's great here, and they tell me it's cheap here. You like to golf? Go figure out what it costs. Go play while you're here. Go figure out what clubs cost here. If, you get mad and you break one, what's it cost to replace it? You need to put new grips on. You play tennis, whatever it is you like to scuba dive. Great. How much is a boat trip, a 2-tank dive? What's it cost? And it depends on where you go, and figure that out. But that other study shows that most people spend less than they expect, and they're not spending enough, right? What's the old, I do it again, right? The songs, right? Never seen a hearse with a luggage rack. George Strait again. Can't take it with you. You might as well enjoy it, right? Don't sit and squeeze blood out of every satong or every bot to stay in a hot apartment with in your underwear all day because you're afraid to go out and eat, or you're just eating ramen noodles for $7 a pack or whatever it is. Get out there and enjoy life. It's a whole lot better in retirement than it is unretired. So don't be so strict with yourself. Expect change. Let me take a couple questions here. Let's see. Scott, in a way, what does retirement mean to you is also a good question to ask oneself. Yeah, and I think that's kind of the whole thing, right? What makes you happy? What does it mean to you? And one of the other things the study said is a lot of people plan on working part-time in retirement, and most times that's just to occupy themselves, right? Sometimes it's because they need that supplemental income. Whatever makes you happy, right? What is your retirement going to look at or look like? And then figure out, how do I make that happen? That's making that plan, right? It's like if you're young and you have a plan, someday I want to be rich, someday I want to own a business, but you don't know what business you want to own. You don't know how to run a business. You got no plan. Well, chances are it's not going to happen, right? It's just not going to, fall out of the sky and here you go. You got to do a little bit of thinking about it, but a big part of it is what makes me happy? Where will I be happy? What's it going to take to be happy once I get there? So kind of like backwards planning, right? Once I get there, what am I going to do? What's my life going to look like? How much am I going to need to spend to be happy and do those things? And then work backwards from that. Okay, how much do I have to have in my pocket before I can go? Only worried about the retirement visa. Is it safe for long stay? So Texas is talking, I think, about all the changes in Thailand, specifically getting really tough at Bangkok Bank, tightening down on who can open a bank account. And it's gotten very hard because there's a big crackdown across Thailand and fraud and fraudulent bank accounts being used for these scam call centers, that kind of stuff, money laundering, illegal businesses here in Thailand. So they've cracked down on who can open and how to open, what it takes to open a bank account here. The retirement visa is safe. I'm on a retirement visa. There are some videos coming out now about Bangkok Bank saying maybe they're not going to accept the DTV, or the Destination Thailand visa, which is the 5-year, 6 months at a time visa, because technically it's a short-term tourist visa. So I think it was just yesterday I saw something about that, maybe the day before. There's a lot of news coming about that. There's always a lot of change in retirement. Plans change. And I've done some other videos talking about that. The short story is I think it's safe. A lot of people now are still, so the catch-22 is you've got to have a bank account to get a retirement visa. You got to have a retirement visa or a long-term visa to get a bank account. So you're in a circle of death there. So right now, it looks like the way to get around that is to get your 90-day visa before you come for your retirement, and then get your retirement visa once you get here. And really, with current conditions, I highly recommend using an agent and not trying to struggle through this on your own. You can if you want. Everybody's going to comment, oh, you can do it on your own. You can, but it could be pretty frustrating, and I don't want frustration in my retirement. All excellent advice. Thank you, especially about doing things you love to do. Yeah, thanks, Scott. Pickleball has its cost to it's cheaper than this. Sorry, I'm trying to read through the bifocals. Cheaper than the States, but there's a cost. All right. Longer duration, like 10 plus years. Texas following up on his question. Retirement visa for 10 years, you've got to renew it every year. Once you've got it, I just had to renew mine. March, May, I don't remember. It was right after I came back from the U.S. or right before I went to the U.S. the last time. So March, I think mine was due, something like that. It's easy. It only takes a couple. It was a day or 2 days, and I had my visa back, my retirement visa renewed. Once you've got everything, you've qualified for it. The only thing left to do is continue to prove either your bank deposit or your continuing income, whatever way you're meeting that financial obligation or requirement. It's no problem to renew it. If you're looking for a fire and forget kind of 10-year visa, really your only option is the used to be the elite visa. They call it privilege visa or something like that now. They're more on the expensive side. You get a few more benefits out of it, like you get discounted shopping, discounted golf, and like fast track at the airport or something. And basically what it works out to is the cost of hiring an agent to get your visa is times 10 or whatever, and you just pay that up front. Privilege visa or whatever they're calling it these days might be an option for you if you're looking for long term, and then you got it, and you don't have to worry about reporting as much and things like that. But living here long term is certainly still doable. I'm still doing it. I don't see anything on the horizon that would ever cause me to move, but you never know. Kevin, any news on Thai taxes? There have been a lot of clarifications that have come out lately. And let me preface all this with, I'm not a tax expert. My view on it is if I'm required to pay taxes here where I'm living, I'm happy to do it. I love it here. I'm using the facilities. I'm using the roads. I'm living in the country. If I owe taxes, I'm happy to pay them. I got more beef with the U.S. where I'm not living and still paying taxes on all of my income. That's a little different, but I think the U.S. is one of only 2 countries in the world that will tax you forever, no matter where you live. There's only one other country that does that right now. I can't remember who it is. So, hey, lucky to be an American, right? Forever taxes, no matter where you go. Would you not agree it's better to live here for 1 year at least before even thinking about retiring here? I think it depends on the person, right? I didn't do that. I came here. I loved it. I moved here with the intention of retiring here and then using it as a base to explore, but still being open-minded about, well, turns out maybe it's Vietnam or maybe it's Singapore. Maybe I'll go somewhere else. But I loved it so much, I don't have any inclination of leaving. And that's, I don't remember if it was this video I talked about it or the last video that nobody saw because it was set to private. I talked about being able to travel and get around once you're here. It's so affordable. It's so easy to travel throughout Asia, travel throughout the world. But whether you're traveling in Thailand or, you want to run to Singapore, you want to run to Vietnam or wherever, planes, trains, and automobiles can get you there, and it's super affordable. So, that's a great approach. Move here, see if you like it, or come here multiple times. Don't come in vacation mode. Stay for a couple months, or as long as you can, and live like you would long term, so that you get a better feel for what it's really like. Because it's not going to be vacation mode, right? It's not just going to be party all the time, vacation all the time. It's different to live someplace than it is to go on vacation there. 2,400 is enough for 2 people. Most other countries are way too expensive. Well, so 2 things there, right? everybody's budget is different. It goes back to what I was saying about making your plan and find out what you need. If you need $2,400 a month to be happy for two people, yeah. Some people might say that's not enough. Some people might say it still takes $5,000 to be happy. Some people say, no, two people can live on $1,800, right? And then you get people like the guy I had to block in here in the chat earlier who's gonna, pick apart every little piece of everything and just be negative about everything. So what I would say is, if 2,400 works for you, then 2,400 is your number. You could live in a nicer condo, you could live in a nicer house, you could live at the beach, you could live at the mountains. All of that factors into your housing expense. And that's the biggest, like everywhere else, right? That's your biggest expense. If you're renting or paying a mortgage, right? Once you own your own house, it's not your biggest expense. For the vast majority of people, housing is going to be your biggest expense. Make sure you're going to be comfortable. And as far as, other countries being way too expensive, again, people are going to get on here and argue that, say, oh, Vietnam's cheaper, or, oh, Singapore's probably a little bit more expensive. And again, it's going to depend. Singapore, not so much because it's just a city, but, Malaysia, well, are you in Penang? Are you in Kuala Lumpur? Or are you somewhere else? Location, that all factors into it. So again, find where you like to live, find what's going to make you happy, and then work toward that, and be open to change, right? You might come and say 2,400 is enough. You might get here and go, oh no, maybe it's 2,800, or oh, happily, maybe it's just 1,800 and I'm banking the rest, or I'm traveling more. So all of those things that we talked about from the beginning, right? Making your plan, being open to that plan change and expect it to change. And then just live, right? Don't worry about spending too much money. Enjoy your life. Hey, and then always throw that out there. Statistically speaking, a lot of people spend less than they expected in retirement, or don't spend enough in retirement. So I'm going to spend more. You can always tighten down later, right? You can always find some other kind of online income or something to supplement your income. Now, I'm not talking about going out, don't be reckless. Be happy, but, use a little common sense. John Joe, sup, man. So what's up is we're 32 minutes into it. I need a haircut, and Scott is waiting on me to come up to Jomtien and show him around a little bit. He needs to go rent a motorbike so he's not walking and bolting everywhere. So I actually got some plans today, and it looks like, looking outside, looks like the rain's going to cooperate, at least down here in Bangsa Day. It's looking pretty nice now. There's a good stiff breeze blowing. It's a little cloudy. So hopefully it's not raining up in Jomtien, and I'm going to head up that way. John, since your last live, I pulled the trigger and bought my ticket to visit Thailand in January. That's awesome. That's a great time to come. The weather's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be busy. It's going to be hopping, which is good, right? So, come enjoy. That's when a lot of the things are going on. There's going to be a lot of festivals going on. There's going to be all kinds of things going on in January. I know you're going to love it. I'm glad the live apparently was helpful and kicked things off for you. Let us know when you get here, and we'll see what's going on in January. I think my son is coming, and actually it turns out maybe both sons are coming in January this time. I think I got the younger one talked into it. Do you suggest buying a condo worth $100K in Thailand if one has the money? I'm not going to make any kind of recommendation there. If you know my channel, you know that in the past I've done a lot of condo rentals, so real estate rentals, real estate purchases. I'm not going to recommend one way or the other because, again, it's whatever makes you happy. A lot of people buy condos when they come here. A foreigner can own a condo straight out in Thailand. You can't own a house as an individual foreigner in Thailand. And there's a lot changing with that. Long-term leases and stuff just changed, and there's already talk of even more changes beyond that. So do what's right for you. What I would say is, unless you're sure that is absolutely the place and the building that you want to be in long term, maybe wait. Don't buy it right away. You might come, and if you buy a condo up on Beach Road in Jomtien, and then you take the train down to Hua Hin and you love that, well, maybe you should have bought down there. So just like buying anywhere else, make sure it's someplace you want to be forever, right? Or long term. Think about the resale market. One of the things I always think about when I look at purchasing is, especially with condos, is what about special assessments, right? You're going to have a monthly maintenance fee for forever, as long as you stay in that place. But what if something happens, right? What if the elevators go bad? What if there's an earthquake in Bangkok, right? And there were a lot of condos that were ruined, several buildings, determined later to be not inhabitable. And there's still not a lot of, can they be fixed? Are they going to have to be torn down? What happens with that, right? There's insurance, there's other things to consider there. My oldest son is calling me. He doesn't realize I'm on live. So something to think about. You can buy a condo here. If that's what makes you happy, then go for it. And as far as whatever the price goes for, for $100,000, you're going to be in a really nice condo. Grayland. Grayland is VGR, guys, and he actually used to live, I don't know, hour and a half. We used to live close to each other in Virginia. We didn't know each other back then, but we do now. And he raises golden retrievers. When I'm buying a dog for the farm, don't spoil things. I haven't talked about that. You and Wayne are the only ones who know about. So anyway, I guess now other people are getting the clue. But no, there won't be any dogs. Koi's deathly afraid of dogs. She was attacked by a dog when she was young, and she's terrified of them. So yeah, not going to happen. She won't allow it. But so you guys got any more questions? I'm happy to answer them. We're running right up to about the time where I kind of thought would be good to cut it off today. Let me just go back through. Sorry, I moved. Forget that I'm on the laptop and not on the Osmo camera. Through, what does it take to retire? Just getting those juices flowing. Like we saw from Joe, he watched a video I did, what is it, a month and a half ago now? Pulled the trigger. He's not moving, but he's coming to visit Thailand. Make a plan. If you think you might like it here and you've never been here, do like John Joe is doing, do like Scott's doing right now. Come and check it out. Don't come in vacation mode. Come and do the things that you enjoy doing. Make it a nice vacation, but think about and try to experience the things that you might have to do on a more frequent basis if you actually lived here. Go to the grocery store. Don't think about getting vacation groceries where it all fits in, one little plastic bag, because all you're getting is, chips and beer and whatever. If you're living here and you've got to go to Big C, how are you going to get there? What's it cost to get there? If you ride your motorbike and you buy something big, how are you going to get it home? Well, Grayland can tell you, you just call up one of the services and they deliver it for you, right? You go and you spend too much, you buy too much, it's too big to strap on the back of your bike. Call a Bolt, call an Uber, throw it in that, tell them to meet you at the house. You buy a sofa or a TV, they deliver, or call Lala Move and they come in 30 minutes and pick it up and take it to your house. But work through all of those things. Don't try and solve all your problems or answer all your questions. The rule is if they call twice, I always answer. Hey, Bubba.
What are you doing?
I'm live on YouTube right now, and so are you. Say hi.
Oh, hi.
Give me a couple minutes. I'll call you back, okay?
Okay.
Love you. Bye. Bye. Yeah, so in past lives when I was working, I used to do a lot of public speaking, a lot of presentations, a lot of training. And of course, they were much smaller then, but the rule was that if you ever absolutely need daddy, call me, hang up, and call back, and I will take the phone call on stage. I will walk off stage, whatever, and answer it. So that still exists. And, that's a great thing to just kind of wrap this video up with. A lot of people worry about leaving their kids behind or leaving family behind or moving somewhere where you know absolutely no one, like I did. I didn't know anybody. I had teenage boys at home. They're a phone call away. They live 15 minutes from me back in the US, and we would text or we would video call more than we would see each other. Everybody else is going to live their life. Why not live yours, right? Get out there and enjoy it. We don't know how much time we got left. I know I say that a lot. I don't mean it to sound negative. I just mean it to be realistic, right? And it's, you see it on my shirts. You see it. Die with memories, not dreams. You can, Seth says, my bad. Nothing bad at all. You made a great point, Bubba. You can still be in touch with everybody. Like I said, he was here for 6 weeks back in January. Loved it. Tell me if I'm wrong, Seth. And I think he and I have got his brother convinced to come with him sometime early next year, maybe for not 6 weeks again, but come and experience, live life. Be that place your friends, your family, your kids can come and visit and stay cheap and see things they otherwise never would have seen. When he and I talk, he talks all the time. I never thought I'd see Hong Kong. I never thought I'd see China or go to Japan. Or we ran all over the place when we were here. It's an opportunity not just for you, but it's an opportunity for your family to have other great experiences. So take the step, check it out. It's certainly worth it. All right, people are signing off. Grab is on the NASDAQ. It's up 5% year to date. Yeah, I didn't realize it was publicly traded, but yeah, there's all kinds of ideas and things out there. My son Seth is saying traveling around is like flying to Orlando once you get there. It's a whole lot cheaper than flying to Orlando, right? So Richmond to Orlando is like an hour and a half or something, maybe 2 hours. So hour and a half, 2-3 hours, you can pretty much get anywhere in Asia, Southeast Asia particularly. And a lot of times you can get there and back for less than $100. So there you go. I'm here 17 months early. And after I got my Alexa reminder to retire yesterday, I just wanted to pop on here for a second and talk about that, and just keep encouraging y'all to do it if you're thinking about it. If you've got more one-on-one questions you'd like to ask, you want to dive into it in a little more detail, send me a comment or shoot me an email, retiringtoasia@gmail.com, and we will set up a time based on your time zone and mine and figure out what works. And we can talk through whatever it is you want to talk about. Anyway, I'm headed out for the day. I'm headed up to Jomtien here in a little bit, and I'll see you in the next one.